is Marawa TV, Lockdown Television. It's a part 2, part 3, part 4. I don't know how many parts it's going to be. It's going to be many parts though, because we don't know how long this lockdown is going to be. And I've been wondering, what are the referees doing besides them not being paid, like everybody else not being paid? And I decided to find out. He's all the way in some farm. I don't even know where the farm is. He's having a cup of coffee. Let's say good morning to you, Bravik, Victor Gomes.
Cheers, bro, Robbie.
How are you doing, sir?
And you second hand. How are you, sir?
I'm Robin Island. You're asking us to respect the referee. You are on a farm. Are you just, detoxing? What's going on?
No, bro, Rob. It's unfortunate where my company is. We're situated on a farm in Krugersdorp, and we are observing essential services. My company manufactures some plastic bottles. So we are making bottles for the hand sanitizer industry. We do some food stuffs as well as water. So we are working here at work, and I've got my mask, so I decided to take it off. And yeah, I'm just sitting outside here in the garden having a nice chat with you.
Well, thank you so much for affording us the time, because it's been such a busy period, and because of the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic that swept right across the entire world, my thoughts were with our local referees. What is going on? What do you spend your time on? Now that you mention your other work, and it is an essential service, and thanks for raising that, is that you are an extremely busy person. So when you're busy traveling, you let your brother in to run the business. How long have you been running the business for?
Well, I've had my businesses for about 14 years now. I've currently been in this business here for 4 years. And I'm blessed with great staff. I have a nice complement of staff and a brilliant team that allows me to travel and that allows me to do my passion of refereeing. And so jobby job, Malu.
But what was it? Was it about a family business type thing? Did you have to take over from someone? Was that a major part of it? Because it is a massive plant, and when you talk about bottling, people might think it's just like a little room, but you have a huge staff complement. It's massive. You cater for so many different people. It's not just about the bottles, it's about the bottle lids, it's about also the imprint. You've even got a gym there, so that you are able to get onto the gym. Was this a family business before, or is it still a family business?
No, bro, Rob. I actually started this previously with my in-laws, and I moved on from there a few years ago, and I started my own business here with another partner. And then I employed my brother, who runs my factory as well, who's my right hand in the factory. And so it's just grown from strength to strength by the grace of God. And I'm here, and that's where we are basically today.
But what's the passion though? Because I've kind of had a glimpse of the operation of what happens during the day, and you've almost got to be hands-on. What was it about this particular line of work and line of business that made you have an interest and make it such a profitable business that it is now?
Bro, Rob, I've learned something in business. I've been in business. I'm still young in business, but I've been in business. I've realized that there's always two prices or two values of a business, and that is one where the owner is present and one where the owner is not present. And I've always been driven by my business, by what I do. I believe in what my product is, and I just have a zest for it. And it's so nice. It like just complements who I am, and it allows me to travel also when there's games. So my staff already know. They see me going to the shower, take a shower, and dress up in a suit. They already know that I'm going to a football match. Or they see me sometimes leave early at 3 o'clock, and they see me in the gym. They know I'm already doing my training session. So I've incorporated my business as part of my life and how I live day to day. And I believe I don't have a time for work. I don't have a time for play. So I work harder to play harder. And by doing that, I have all these things around me, and it just facilitates what I do.
But do you not find, though, that it kind of alleviates now that pressure where you're not reliant on one stream of income, where everybody says, oh no, now that we're not refereeing, what are we going to be doing? And I know that other referees do find themselves in that unfortunate situation. do you not find it as almost a blessing in disguise that you were so versatile that your multi skills are now working for you at a time that nobody knew we would be in this dwang, so to speak?
Yeah, sure, of course. And don't forget that many of my colleagues also do, some of them do work, should I say. Not many of them, but some of them also have jobs. You know, having a full-time job is also, you have to be very disciplined with your time. And you obviously got to have superiors who support you to allow you time off work during the week when it's a midweek game, etc. And if they work weekends, maybe to go off. So, yeah, it is. And I'm very blessed and I'm grateful for that.
Coronavirus to you, and I know that you've taken such a firm stance at work where every single day at certain hours you're refreshing masks and you're changing gloves and so on, because you know you made the decision, you made the staff decide what they needed to do. Those that felt that they didn't want to come to work, then they didn't have to come to work, although you're an essential service, but you still put it back to them. Tell me about that thinking and how they appreciated how you dealt with it.
You know, out of the many things in life, we should never forget the human element of something. We can respect law, we can respect anything, but we must never forget the human element of something. And we need people to do things voluntary. And I believe a dictatorship is not the correct way. When people see now our president on TV and say, "This is our president," you get animated and like, "This man is driving us, and we have power. We are going to support you, CR." And it's not CR7 from Madeira; it's CR7 in South Africa. Huh? So when our president, so when our president says, "Let's get behind him," we are all rallying. And never have I been so proud to be a South African. But and that is the cue that I took it from in my staff. I gave them the option of saying, "You know what, guys, we are essential services. This is what's required of us. We can do it, but I can only do it if I have your support." And honestly speaking, I had one guy who said to me he was not comfortable, and I said, "That's fine. We respect it. Stay home until you feel that you want to." So I think at the end of the day, I've actually got a beautiful photo that I'll share with you after of my guys praying in the factory, and I let it up to them. And at the end of the day, I'm the team leader. They are the tools, and if we work together, we can come to a conclusion.
No, I think that's a massive sign of leadership, but also it's a sign of leadership though because Vic, I've got to congratulate you. I don't think we've seen a referee in South Africa really shoot up um, across the continent and across the world in the way that you have. And it's not just about shooting up; it's about your level of consistency. It's about your dedication to the craft. It's about your dedication to this that they still call an amateur because you're not professionalized, etc., etc. But you're refereeing professional games. I mean, your rise has been unbelievable, but you've been consistent. But it doesn't matter. You follow the laws of the game. FIFA have spelled them out for everybody. What do you think? I mean, if you had to independently look at yourself, what do you think has worked for you?
Hey, I think it's just because I'm stubborn, to be honest. I'm just stubborn. I think you need to I think you need to believe in what you do,
Yeah.
whether it be wrong or right, and know that what you're doing is for the right reason. Then I think it sets. Because as the old adage says, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for everything. So I think it's just knowing that what you're doing is the best to your ability, and knowing that, or assuming that what you're doing is the best, and trying to improve yourself all the time. That's what we strive for, because our only competition is ourselves. We can only be better than ourselves.
Oh, I mean, that's massive, though. When you talk about staying with what you believe, and then you'll find people that will criticize and say, Victor Gomes, yo, that guy loves attention. He wants it to be about himself. How do you deal with that, though? Because one way or the other, you're a human being. You talked about the human factor. It comes back to you. And when you hear those comments saying that, oh, there's Vic, we're going to get a red card. Oh, Amakat does all over the place. How do you take that in?
It comes back to the stubbornness of remaining humble. I think it's very important to always remain humble in whatever you do. And in our line of profession as a referee, possibly we are exposed to the limelight where people think we want to be the center of attention. But I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm an uncle, I'm a malume, I'm a friend, and I also make mistakes. I also watch games, and it's human nature. And at the end of the day, I always say the mistakes will always be made. When people bake and burn the bread in a bread factory, nobody knows about it, but there's a big mistake. So sometimes only people see referees' mistakes because there's guys like you watching us, and we have thousands of cameras on us and all replay and etc. So what I'm trying to say is that it's a job like any other, and we do make mistakes. And I've always urged people in every who've heard my interviews and stuff is try and see it through the eyes of the referee. Try to understand what is going wrong, because ultimately SAFA have invested a lot of money in us referees, and they train us twice a year. We go to courses. CAF send us on courses. FIFA send us on courses. So we are a big investment to SAFA, and they need to see results. So we also need to always up our game and keep at it.
I'm glad you mentioned that though, Vic, because the one thing that I've always wanted to find out from you personally is that with the game having evolved so much, and there is that technology, there is that aspect of being scrutinized all the time. I know Australia, they do this, which is post the game, they do what they do to the coaches or to the man of the match or to one of the players, which is to have a conversation with the ref. And I got to put a disclaimer out there in case people say, no, but why don't you ask him about that game? We can't talk about specific games because we are still in season. The season hasn't ended yet, so I'm not going to be delving down that road. Do you feel now, though, 2020 and onwards, that we should be able to have access to finding out from a Victor Gomes, a Victor Hlongwane, hey, guy, 90 minutes, what happened there? What was your thinking?
Bro, Rob, if you allow me to be, how should I say, speak from the heart in terms of answering your question, I might not answer your question directly, but I think you'll get the point that I'm trying to raise. When you drive a pilot, when he drives a plane, he needs a pilot license. When you drive a car, you need a car license. When you drive a forklift, you need a forklift license. I believe that players and coaches should also have some sort of accreditation in terms of laws of the game. We have a lot of speculation in the media, respectfully, of sometimes some confusion. And I admire folks like yourselves and many other of your colleagues in the industry who sometimes ask about the laws of the game. Because I also believe there's a misperception in terms of many laws of the game. For example, laws of the game change every year. And there's something called interpretation, as you very well know. And sometimes we are crucifying referees when referees are actually making the correct decisions. And I think that should answer your question in terms of there might be times where when a referee talks after the game, it might give you good understanding as to actually what happened. Because many times I often, or should I say not many times, all the time after my games on TV, I watch my games to see where I've gone wrong and where I can improve. And I listen to some of the commentary during the game, and it's totally incorrect. And there are times where I even post a law and I can say, here's the correct law. This is what you said. It's not consistent with the law. So there could be better understanding if more people knew the laws of the game. And I beg to say that if you've been out of football for more than 6 months, you are behind on the laws of the game because there's interpretations and stuff. And I think if we can get this harmony, you will see football will be a big winner.
And I know that IFAB has been at the center of trying to evolve the game. And if, just picking up on what you're saying, and I respect what you say, Vic, which law of the game do you find to be the most misunderstood right now, not just only in South Africa, but internationally? Which one gets people, whether you're a commentator, you're a supporter, you're just an ordinary Joe Soap, which one is the most misunderstood?
Look, obviously every law has its little part, but I think the offside law is one integral law. It's the smallest law in the law book, and it leads us, it's open to so much interpretation. And if this makes sense, that some elite referees can sit around a table and watch a clip and we can debate and come with different answers, then that justifies what I'm saying to you about interpretation. it's interpretation, and also about management of the game. In a certain game, a red card might be accepted. In another game, maybe a yellow card will suffice. So it also has that interpretation part of it. So I think this is what we need to start understanding, is what they call about modern football, modern understanding, football understanding. And I want to leave you with this thought so that you know what I'm talking about when I'm
Sure.
referencing this. Let's say Cristiano Ronaldo in a World Cup, in the last minute of the game, he scores a goal and he already has a yellow card. He scores a goal, and as he scores a goal, he removes his shirt. The stadium is full, 90,000 people. He removes his shirt and he goes and he puts it on a young boy who's sitting on the side of the field, who's possibly on a wheelchair or whatever, a young supporter that's there. My question to you is there any spectator or is there anybody who will accept that the referee gives that player a second yellow card for taking off his celebration jersey and putting it on a child who so loves the beautiful game? And I think if your answer to that will tell you what I'm trying to explain to you about interpretation and laws and management.
So sometimes it is not what we see, because I still find that to be the most useless ever law that there is. And I know exactly where you're going to say, leave it to the integrity of a referee. Leave it to him to interpret what it is that he thinks needs to be done. So do you believe, though, that we should always look at it for what it is and say, yes, you took your shirt off, you're not allowed to, we give you a yellow card, never mind your wonderful gesture of handing it over to a child who is there in the wheelchair, we will interpret it, I as Victor will interpret it as a second, therefore, Ronaldo, off to the change room.
Look, I'm not saying we must bend the laws or change the laws. I'm a very firm believer, and you will know that I stick to the letter of the law.
Sure.
But in the beginning of the law, there's something that we call the spirit of the law. And a referee can apply that as in the spirit of the law. So I trust that helps you in understanding where I'm trying to come from. So I just want to put on record, it's not changing the laws to suit you or a team or an individual or because the team is winning. No, nothing should change because of the score or whatever. But you need to take management into account as well.
All right, the spirit, 100%, and the spirit does work. And for what I have observed is that the handball seems to be the one that is the most confusing. You know, you'll find so many people talking about hand to ball, ball to hand. No, hand was towards and the hand was against. And hey, Baba, your head goes completely crazy, because at the end of the day, you still don't know. Because you'll watch an EPL game, they will give that handball outside of the box, and you'll see the same handball, but now that it's inside the box, it is given as a penalty. And you start to wonder, where's the level of consistency? Is that not one of the other laws that is still very confusing out there?
Yeah, sure. It's the handball's been contentious for many years, and I think it will be contentious for many years to come. However, under the guidance of IFAB now, we are starting to get more clear directives as to what is handball and what is not handball. Just last week, I saw some illustrations of handball and stuff. So what they are trying to do is trying to keep it consistent in terms of, if you get referee A, referee B, referee C, that we're all blowing the same thing. And I think we are slowly, I think after the last 2 years, we've now cut down and minimized the handball issue a lot.
I'm going to come back home. I want to quickly go across to Egypt. And because you're a human being, I was there. I spoke to you afterwards. We're at the airport. And I know at times you've got to be the tough man. You've got to be the tough guy. You've got to be that person who has that thick skin. But trust me, Vic, I mean, if we are told, and the entire world is told, that Victor Gomes is going to referee the CAF Africa Cup of Nations final, then that is what I am going to be expecting to see. My homeboy, never mind that he's a referee who's respected and so on. I see him as a South African who earns the right to be refereeing. And the next thing, boom, gone. It wasn't to be. And they strike it down to communication. And I'm like, yeah, pull the other one. I mean, how do you feel then and how do you feel now about what happened?
Honestly, I'm very happy. If people are suggesting that I should ref the final, obviously I think there's no one who would say they would not be happy. So obviously I'm happy, and my faith tells me that my time, when it's my time, it will be my time. And I've always accepted that, and I've learned in football and in life, when it's your time, it will be the right time.
And I think your time we showed with the CAF Super Cup final, which I think was the last really major event where you were to referee. And again, a major assignment. Vic, what did that mean to you personally to once again go for the South African guy who is showing all signs that not only does he want to be in Qatar, but he just wants to be the best referee there is in the world?
Yeah, sure. I'm grateful to God for that opportunity, and I'm grateful for all the people who always support me, including my wife and my kids and my close family, my staff. And to get to an event like that, it takes a lot of commitment, a lot of long time. It's many years. It's not overnight that it happens. And yes, it is a prestigious event, and I mean it's the highest after AFCON. I would say it's the highest match you can officiate in your confederation. Super Cup it's the Super Cup, which is Champions League versus Confederations Cup winners. So I'm grateful to CAF for giving me that honor, and I'm grateful that SAFA have always supported me in my international endeavors.
Do you find now that the issues where they want to bribe people like yourself, has that kind of died down a little bit, or is it still quite a thing? I know you were it was a very public thing a couple of years ago where the whole 300,000 Rand came about, where you said obviously no to that, and I think your integrity will always be intact as far as that is concerned. But do you find though that cases that are coming up, are they fewer now when people are trying to bribe you to call a game one way or the other?
Yeah, Rob, these things happen in life, and I think we all know what's right from wrong. And it's important that we always stay focused and come back to what I was saying about being humble.
Yeah.
And we need to take a stance in life, and not only in football. I think in life we need to take a stance and say, hey, we're not all perfect, but let's try and achieve to do what's right all the time. And if we can do that, I think this place will be a better place.
But I had a conversation a couple of months back. It was just before the Sundowns and Pirates game, and two of the players, I won't mention who, I think people that listened to that interview would know exactly who I'm referring to. And I asked them about you and the advice that they can give other players so that they can avoid trying to be better or trying to put their voices heard, or whatever the case might be. But what they basically said in short, Vic, is that the only way that they've escaped your wrath, if I call it your wrath, is that they haven't been in your face. So if you know you've done wrong or you borderline doing wrong, accept, step aside, carry on. But it's those abaninkani who want to come forward and argue with you that you're going to deal with. I mean, I don't know if that is an accurate enough assessment of how people should act, because at the end of the day, referee's decision is final.
On a serious note, Rob, I think we humans, we should come back to the issue of what I said about not forgetting the human trait of something.
Yeah.
I'm a human also. I think if you come and stand on my toes, I think I have to respond. That's the nature of the beast. And I think I've actually grown to have beautiful relationships with players on the field. And sometimes it's sad that you don't get to see it from a camera perspective, but you only get to feel it on the field. I've had many jokes on the field, and I am a happy-go-lucky person. Let's play the game, and I'm there to play. If you're not there to play the game, then I have to enforce and do my job, because my bosses are watching me, and I also have to do my job.
Because you come across as that happy-go-lucky guy that you mentioned. You come across as that, I think you're more psyched up than the players are at times, and you go through your warm-up drills and you go through your inspection of the net and the field and everything else, and you can tell that, okay, this is going to be a serious game. What drives Victor Gomes from the moment he leaves base camp to go to the airport or leaves the hotel to drive to the stadium? What is it that drives you to do and be better?
It's actually a very good question. and also very interesting that people may not realize is that you transition yourself. So if you come to work, it's doing business, it's doing production, it's doing this, and then all of a sudden you must transition from getting into your suit and traveling to a match, excuse me, and being stopped by the police on the road for whatever reason, just outside, and you can't get in, for example, or whatever. And these are things which drive me actually, because it's something that you need to be very level-headed, and you need to be at the level of the game. So sometimes you might go to a game and you think, oh, this is going to be an easy game or whatever. In the meantime, that's where you get it wrong, because you've already, in your mind, you've already played something that's not actually going to happen. So that is the beauty of refereeing, is every day it's something different. You never know what to expect, and you have to be like a gear lever. At any time, you must be able to change. Well, the game's getting hot, you need to change. Oh, the players want to play, then you release a little bit. So it all comes down to the management, and I enjoy that. I think it's something that really keeps me and gives me some drive.
But I chat to a couple of the players, and they say that the one thing they appreciate about you is your ability to switch the language. Again, angiyazi ukuthi uhlala uthi hey mina umfana wasemadera, hey Portuguese, what. But in heart, I mean, hey, umZulu, umSotho, umTswana, you are whatever you are. What did it take for you to adapt and, I mean, ukwazi ukufunda lama language owaziyo?
Ay, mashangani mina, yangibulabula, yasithiba Slovan. You know, you have to be multitask. It's something that I've always enjoyed. I never forget starting in the younger leagues. One time on a corner kick, went to do a game, and just before the corner kick, the one guy said, hey, lo referee agula. So I blew my whistle, I stopped the corner kick, I said, Ubani agula, now, and I gave him a yellow card. And the guy started laughing.
I'm
and
sure
the guy
just
started laughing, and I think, yeah. So I think it's something that, when someone speaks to you in your language, it helps you mend the bridge. When I go into Africa and I go into the Arab countries, I try to speak a little bit of Arabic. I mean, I did a team from Libya not long ago, and they didn't speak English. So as a referee, it's a tool that helps you to be better. So that is one of the reasons I enjoy it, and it's helped my job.
What's next for Victor Gomes? I talk about what I wish for you. What I wish for you is to see you, I think the last time was at Aris Aldatos was at a World Cup. He was running the line. And obviously in recent time, we've had younger versions of that happening. I want to see you at the World Cup. I want to see you in Qatar. I want to see you right there amongst the crop of referees who are eligible to be refereeing in the knockout stages, in a semi-final, in a final. I don't know what you wish for yourself.
Thanks, Rob. From your lips to God's ears. That is my wish. If it so be, I need to work harder all the time. We have a wonderful crop of young referees coming up and pushing us all the time. So yes, it is my wish to go to the top. And also it is my wish to end at the top, young, and give others a chance also, because I think that's what we need to do. Because once you get to that stage, what more do you want to achieve? So others give me a chance to achieve what I would like to achieve, and I would like to give others their chance to also achieve.
You know, my right ear is very sharp. So when you say leave early, you're 37 in 2020. Are you hoping to retire even before you get to 40?
Hey, you see the gray hairs. Now you know why I shaved my hair.
Well, thanks to the lockdown, we can see everything popping out of all of us, eh?
Yeah, sure.
So you want to retire
I'm enjoying myself. I don't want to not retire early. Okay. I want to retire at the right time. I want to do justice to myself. I want to do justice to the game. I want to do justice to my family. That's what I believe.
Are they ever scared for you?
I'm scared for myself sometimes.
Are they ever scared for you?
Yeah, I'm sure they worry about me. They worry about me, but I have a protector. And everywhere I go, I'm protected.
And that's the man above.
Always.
Vic, let me allow you back to your work, my friend. Thank you so much for breaking away. You've got so much to do. You're an essential service provider, and you're hard at work during this lockdown. You've done an amazing job on the field of play. I think you inspire so many different people that today was just a prelude to a more in-depth conversation that you and I are going to have post all of this, when social distancing is no longer a factor and we can actually showcase to people the other side of Victor Gomes. But for today, thank you so much for this Lockdown TV on Marawa TV.